episode, we talked about the Reformation, religious reforms in Europe. And in this episode, we're going to talk about the Spanish Golden Age, about Charles V and his son Philip II, with his other son Ferdinand I. Also, get your cloaks, and also, why don't we start by looking at some notes. My name is Sean, and let's get started on today's Spanish Golden Age. Hey-ya! Oh, it's you. Alright, today we're going to talk about the Spanish Golden Age. If you have been joined us in our previous episode of our hands-on history, you might have experienced a lot of our Golden Ages. But this one is very different from the other Golden Ages we're going to talk about. Alright, so today's Spanish Golden Age is about the House of Habsburg. Who are they? Well, let's start by having a question from the book. Question from the book. Well, found it. What is one event in history that changed the whole world? Put them in the comments below, and I also think the answer is this unit about it. Well, let's get started. Alright, who are the House of Habsburg? Back to that question. Well, the House of Habsburg, just to make things simpler, I'll put it right here. House of Habsburg. The House of Habsburg is probably the most important and the most powerful royal family in the 1500s. They ruled Austria for hundreds of years. I mean, literally hundreds of years. All right. And today we're going to talk about Charles V, part of the House of Habsburg. But first, before we need to get into Charles V, we need to talk about his father and mother. His father was part of the House of Habsburg family, and his mother was the Queen of Spain. When those two married together, they got Charles V. I'll write his name. Charles V. Charles V, and when he was old enough in 1516, he became the King of Spain and the King of Austria. Later, in 1519, he was also elected as the Holy Roman Empire. So now that he ruled 3 territories, well, now what? Well, he also ruled territories in the Americas. If you've been out with our Christopher Columbus video, you might know where the Americas are. North, South America. Just the map from that video. Alright, now that we get our basics on Charles V, now let's get into his adulthood. While Charles V was emperor and king, he was also a Catholic. Well, I'm not a very big fan of Catholic, but it's still good. And, well, as he was a very strong Catholic, he kind of persecuted a lot of Protestants. I mean, sometimes executing them.
설마 저기 캐톨릭 커시드랄 있는 거 보면
Oh yeah. And also, if you see a cathedral, it's right there. That's a cathedral, and that's a Catholic cathedral. I'm not a very big fan of Catholic cathedrals, but this is very inspiring to me. Good architects. Oops. Alright. He was a very strong Catholic, now that we know that, and he hated Protestant, but now what? Oh, also, while he was persecuting and executing Protestants, he was also trying to defeat his enemies. One of them were the Ottomans. If you remember our new Islamic Empire and an episode of one of this series, you will get a basic idea of the Ottomans. In 1555, Charles V was persecuting and executing Protestant because he didn't want anyone to leave the Catholic Church. In the end, he wasn't able to do it. So in 1555, he signed the Treaty of Augsburg. Peace Treaty of Augsburg. I'll write it. Treaty. Peace of Augsburg. The Peace of Augsburg treaty was signed by Charles V, and this said that there are now two religions in Europe. There is now Catholic and Protestant. So Protestants were saying, yay, hooray, well, not exactly. And right after he signed the Peace of Augsburg Treaty, he retired without even defeating his enemy, the Ottomans. And then he split his empire into two and gave each one to his two sons, Philip II and Ferdinand I. Here, I'll write their names. Philip II. Ooh, this is a long one. And Ferdinand. The first. Alright, Philip II got Spain and the Netherlands. South. And Ferdinand I got Austria, alright, right here, and the Holy Roman Empire. He just basically got all of the Holy Roman Empire. Now we're gonna mainly focus on Philip II because that's where the action goes in. Also, that's where the will. Well, Philip II, like Charles V, his father, was also a strong Catholic king. He didn't exactly kind of persecuted Protestants, but he did kind of torture them. Philip II also made Madrid, today's capital city of Spain, the capital city of Spain. Slowly, Madrid's power grew and Spanish culture flourished. Later, this city became the home to future Spanish painters and writers. Well, in my history book, I say that the most famous one is a guy named Cervantes who wrote Don Quixote. Don Quixote. That's it. Don Quixote. Here, I'll write it. Also, this is going to be Spanish. Cervantes wrote the book Don Quixote. Now, Don Quixote was considered to be the first modern novel. And also, nobody knows who drew the pictures. Well, whoever did it, I know a bit about the Don Quixote story, but still, let's talk about that in extra history. Alright, when Philip II found out that Queen Elizabeth I of England was supporting Protestants in his lands in the Netherlands, he wasn't too happy about it. He was so furious. In fact, that he gathered a huge fleets of ships and an army so he can attack England. This fleet, he named it the Spanish Armada, and it was consisted of over 100 warships. Well, Armada. What is Armada meaning anyway? Originally, Armada was, Spanish Armada. Armada. Well, what does Armada mean? Well, Armada is originally the Latin word for army, and today we call it the same meaning as fleet. Well, we call it the same meaning as fleet because Philip II called his army the Spanish Armada, and he just wanted to sound cool and all. Yeah. Good joke, Jen. Alright, a lot of people thought that the Spanish Armada was invincible, 100% unbreakable, and undefeatable. Well, this proved them wrong. When they went to England and attacked them, what do you think? Will they win or lose? Answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Alright, so they won. They lost. The English won, actually. You might have, well, this is a kind of disadvantage. Well, this is how the English won. The English had smaller ships than the Spanish Armada. The Spanish Armada had largest ships known in the 1500s called galleons. The warships were galleons plus weapons plus army. All right. as I said earlier, the English had smaller ships, so they were able to attack easily. And also they had some special types of ships called fire ships. Fire ships are ships sent to the enemy ships and will cut them on fire. Well, after the defeat of the Spanish tried to go back the way they came, but instead they found that way blocked, so they had to go the long way. When they returned back to Spain, only half of their men survived and half of their ships survived too. So that's a kind of disappointment. And after the terrible defeat for the Spanish, their power declined. And also slowly they fell apart. While that was happening, the English got a better reputation than the Spanish. They became the strongest country in Europe, and also they made new colonies in, you guessed it, North America. To be continued in our next unit. Alright, so put the comments, what do you think will happen in our next unit? Well, see you then. Jahan out. Here's a clue. Queen Elizabeth. Alright, now quiz. Alright. Oh, let's see. Today's writing is about the Spanish Armada and the future quiz. Alright, let's do it. What did you learn about the Spanish Golden Age? And what is one event in history that changed the whole world? Alright, answer them in the comments below or just email me directly. Well, what did you learn about the Spanish Golden Age? Well, I learned that the Spanish Golden Age is an age when Spain got wealthy, powerful, and also the most powerful country in whole Europe. And also, it is also the time when there was a battle against the Spanish Armada with the English, and the Spanish lost, so their empire declined. Well, not exactly an empire, and the English became the strongest country in Europe. Or that's mostly it. And also, the rulers were House of Habsburg, the rulers of Austria, and, well, Charles V was kind of good. Alright, number 2. What is one event in history that changed the whole world? Well, I think that the event that changed the whole world was the discovery of the Americas by Christopher Columbus. Well, why I'm saying this is because long ago people didn't even knew there were the Americas. So when Christopher Columbus found the Americas, this changed the whole world. Maps were changed, and also how we know about the world has also changed. Well, that's basically our answer, and I'll see you next to history. Dun 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 dun. Ha! Yeah. Alright, today's sector history is going to be about the defeat of the Spanish Armada and the war between England and the Spanish Armada. So stay tuned, get your swords, and defend your land. Asa! Whatsa! Alright, let's get started. So the Spanish Armada was ready, and they were setting sail to England. And look at the map here. England. And they were going in the red arrow direction. The general of the English saw the Spanish Armada before the light of SOS fire signals were born. But he was playing a game, and he didn't go to the army until he finished his game. Who would ever think of that? And after he went to the English army, the Spanish were almost arriving. They already prepared for battle, and they got a bit of a sea battle. The Spanish used galleons to attack the English, but there was an advantage on the English. The English got smaller ships, smaller than galleons, which could go faster than the galleons. And also they had small fire ships. What is a fire ship anyways? Well, a fire ship is a ship that is set on fire on purpose and sent to an enemy ship so it could burn down the enemy ship and kill the crew on it. The English used this method, and it was a very old method for the ancient times of, well, for the age of discovery part of this. Okay. Now that we know that how the English got their attacks on on, let's get into the real battle signature. They also use a lot of cannons. If you remember our Joan of Arc in our last episode, episode 10 of our series 2, you might know the invention of the gun and cannon by the French. Well, the English used it as well, and they used it on the Spanish also. Well, they got to get onto the Spanish and, well, kill a lot of them. After that, the Spanish got a retreat, and instead of going here, the English were blocking that way. They went up England, around Scotland, down of Ireland. Also, along the way to Ireland, some English troops went upwards to Ireland, and they stuck a lot of Spanish ships. They got a lot of them onto the island and set them on fire with people on them. This made tremendous losses for the Spanish. And also, it's not only the English that, because they lost a lot of ships and people, a storm raged while they were going up and down to back their home. Because of the storm and the English, over half of the people at the war were killed, and half of the ships were destroyed. Oof, that'd be hot. Well, people managed to get back to Spain, and, well, their empire started to collapse, and, well, they kind of lost their title of strongest and most important country in Europe, and the English got that title. Ooh, go England! Well. Alright, so this is basically end of the Spanish Armada, but what happened next? After the English defeated the Spanish, they got a better reputation than the Spanish, and they became the strongest country in Europe. They also started making colonies in North America, to be continued in our next unit. Guess what will happen, and I was gonna repeat this again, guess what will happen in our next unit. See you then, Shahan out, extra history! This video was made by me, it was sponsored by me, the talking was by me, of course your host is me, Shahan. The script was written by me, these drawings of the maps were drawn by me, and also if you want to support my channel, just subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and also hit the bell button so you wouldn't miss any of my notifications and videos when they're uploaded. Also, if I do ask a question, please answer them in the comments below, or just email me directly at 20jur@naver.com. Also, one more thing, this drawing that I'm gonna show you is drawn by me. Get the drawing of the galleon. Alright, see you there.